on, everybody? Welcome to another pastel painting video. Today we are going to be doing a John Singer Sargent study. Image is on the top left for you. We're going to be using oil pastel. So similar to what you are used to with the oil painting content is what we're going to do now with oil pastels. So I'm using the Sennelier, whatever, however you pronounce them. These are pretty affordable. They're not too bad, but if you're going to use oil pastels, you really want to use the best quality ones you can get. And to my knowledge, this is one of the best ones that I have tried. Let's get started here. Placement for the head, and the Sargent that we're going to be doing a study of today is a painting that he did of his sister Emily Sargent. I think that was her name. I don't know what her name was. I think it was Emily. Placement of the head. And I'm finally back. I would hope that we've figured out the internet setup at this point in a new place. And yes, I had a pretty bad flu or something like that recently, and I'm now back to nearly 100%, which took about, I don't know, like more than 2 weeks for me to recover from. Pretty big one. Haven't been sick like that in a very long time. I hope everyone is gonna stay safe this holiday season. Throwing in the shape for the nose, which, by the way, anyone that doesn't remember, these streams are set to be done 4:00 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Tuesday through Friday. And we switch materials around. So we do pastels on Fridays, acrylic on Thursdays, oil paint on Wednesdays, watercolor on Tuesdays. We can alternate even more from there in terms of landscapes and things like that. With oil pastels, you want to start to mass in pretty soon, just like you would with oil paint. So we're going to mass in the dark shapes now. Oil pastel is really nice when you get used to how messy it is. It is quite a messy material to work with. You can blend with them, as you'll see soon enough. You can blend with them just like you do with the soft pastels. So these streams will typically go from 4 my time to about 7. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more. I primarily focus on portraiture, but we've alternated around between portrait, landscape, still life, pet portraits. This is just black and burnt sienna right now. I'm going to throw in now some yellow ochre. The one thing about oil pastel is they don't last as long. The actual sticks don't last as long as the soft pastel. Randy! Long time no see. Thanks for everyone that's here on such short notice. I know it's really short notice. Also, let me know how the image is turning out, like in terms of, can you hear everything all right? Hopefully it's not glitching anymore like it was before. Hey K Art, oh, thank you for subscribing. Thank you, thank you. And these are pretty laid back live streams. Anyone that remembers how they were before I moved. It won't change. It'll be the same kind of pace. Just nice and chill. Oh good, no glitches, that's awesome. Had a huge rainstorm for like a couple days. Remember what I said about these not lasting long? Look at that. Doesn't mean that it's no good. It's just that these are very, very oily oil pastels. But the same thing happened with my soft pastels, so no need to worry about it. These streams are meant for you to be able to play while you're at work, or you're cleaning the house up, or you're on your commute somewhere and you just want to have something play on the background. Obviously with your attention being on the road. Good one, Randy. And this is a pink color, by the way. With oil pastel, you want more colors than you think you need. With soft pastel, you can get away with a limited palette, like the Zorn palette. It's not so easy with oil pastel. You know, if I recall the pictures of Sargent, he has a similar nose to his sister. You can see kind of a resemblance there. So if you are living in an apartment or you don't have access to an art sink, these pastels are going to be an excellent option. They're even cleaner than, in terms of the space, they're even cleaner than the soft pastels. And they have a texture pretty similar to oil paint. But they are more difficult. I will say that oil pastel is more difficult to get used to than soft pastel. If you have a oil painting background, oddly enough, the soft pastels are, to me, more like oil paint than the oil pastels. Kind of weird. And when we get back into watercolor, which is on Tuesdays, I am gonna try out the arches paper. That was the last piece of advice that you all gave me before the move. So we'll try out the arches. And I don't know if I want to put all that stuff in the background. I might just kind of keep the background the way it is, or I'll change my mind in about 5 minutes. We'll see. My recommendation is to keep some cheaper pastels and use them for the background. Not that the price difference is that much, but like a couple dollars more for these Senneliers might be worth saving and not using them on the background. The paper that I'm using is the mixed media paper. It's also linked in the description for you. It's really nice for the oil pastels, and it does just fine for the soft pastels. And in fact, right behind this drawing, or this painting, whatever you want to call it, I consider it a painting, but that's an interesting question to consider. Do you call this a painting or a drawing? Right behind this is what we did last week. So I reused the back side of the paper. Mainly because these are not that easy to preserve. Pastels are not that easy to preserve, so I probably won't be selling too many of them. You said you can use wallpaper lining, what? Wallpaper lining paper for watercolors. Okay, well, that sounds like something I want to try. I will take a picture of that comment on my phone. You can try it out. Thanks, Mark L. You can see I barely have a small piece of this. You know what, let's just use it. I told you I'd probably end up changing my mind. So let's just use it for some of the background. It'll be difficult to gain any kind of precision with this, but we'll get there. I'm really using this entire piece. It's almost gone. And I think this is raw umber. I don't know, I don't remember. Probably the exact color that Sargent used. He must have used an umber in the background. So a question I tend to ask everybody: where in the world are you? Oh, what do I use to blend with? Nothing just now, but when I do end up blending stuff, the center layer, they sell a medium. So this is a pigmentless medium, and see, I can blend this. I can blend with it slightly, but I'll also end up using probably my hands, like this. Like I can blend stuff like that with my hands, or I'll use a brush that I don't care too much about. I can use a brush. You know, I thought about, and I'll ask everyone this today. I thought about cutting out either acrylic or watercolor and replacing it with landscape. I thought about it, but to be honest, I think that acrylic may be a little less necessary to artists these days in terms of like creating like a finished painting with it, simply because you can just jump right into oil paint or like water mixable oil paint from acrylics, and it might even make more sense to just do that. But I don't know. Right now I just want to get my schedule back to the way it was before the move, and then we'll go from there. Like I said, with these oil pastels, you can use your hands. Yeah, just like when you were in kindergarten. Hey, B. Loxy, where did I learn to paint like this? So I've been oil painting for 15 years or whatever, probably longer. So a lot of this is what I've taken from oil painting. Now obviously it seems pretty premature to go in and blend with your hands, but from my experience working with these center pastels, oil pastels, you want to get this smooth, let's call it smoothnicity. You want to get this smoothnicity as quickly as you can, so that these little dots don't show up too much in critical areas like here. But mainly this is from my experience with oil painting. So by the end of this, we'll make it look like an oil painting. Yeah, everyone, feel free to ask any painting questions. If you want to ask, where the heck were you for the past month or 2 months? Was in the middle of a move and couldn't get my internet figured out for a while. But I'm here. We are here. You live to paint another day. And now we're building that texture that I was telling you about. Texture that you can get from oil pastels. I mean, they could look just like oil paint. Crazy. Of course, be a lot sick. Yeah, if you're trying to learn how to oil paint, best thing you can do is get really comfortable with charcoal, soft charcoal, vine charcoal, charcoal on Canson paper, Canson Métiers paper. Another thing you could do, obviously, is just jump right into the paints and just jump right into it. But charcoal, soft vine charcoal on Canson pastel paper, the Canson Métiers pastel paper, that's a really, really useful to get used to kind of the messiness of oil paint. And let me tell you something. There's something you can learn from every different material. You could start with acrylics or start with watercolor and learn so much stuff that you can then transfer into oil paint or pastel. That was kind of the whole idea or mindset of what I was doing before the move, was showing you that the fundamentals are universal. And that you can take from one material and add information to another one, like improve your oil painting with oil pastel, for example, or you can definitely improve your, if you're an acrylic painter, you can definitely improve your acrylic with learning watercolor. But yeah, the soft pastels, or sorry, the soft vine charcoal lends itself really well to transitioning into oil paint. This lends itself really well into transitioning into oil paint. But if you ask me, this is more difficult than oil paint. This is, in my opinion, more difficult to get into. But if you can get a nice feel for the soft pastels, then you can transfer that information into the oil pastels. They're all connected, like I said, they're all connected. Oh yeah, you can smudge. I can smudge right there. Yeah, you can smudge with these. They're oil pastels, so the oil from your fingers, it doesn't really matter if you get that into the pastel. So it won't be that big of a deal. I thought I had a blue. I do have a blue. Blew his house with a blue little window and a blue pastel. Here it is. Got some blue. This is cerulean blue, I think. I don't know. It's been a while. It's some kind of blue. It's listed in the description box for you. What do I use to clean my hands? That's a good one. I like Dawn dish soap for almost everything. So I actually use Dawn dish soap to clean my hands mostly. Oh, right, this is going to be a big one. So those of you that use glasses, if you wear glasses, be very, very careful when you transition, or if you transition into contact lenses. I sometimes use contact lenses now these days because I play pool. So sometimes it helps to use contact lenses versus regular glasses to play pool. I mean, you may end up using contact lenses if you're playing a sport, if you're a gymnast or something like that. But don't do this if you wear contact lenses. Just don't. Today I'm not going to wear contacts at all. But the problem is this will get in your fingernails, and it's difficult to fully get it out of there the same day. Be careful with that. Just like another really important piece of advice with painting is never keep your solvent or your cleaner, even your water for your watercolor in a cup that you would use to drink out of, because you never know, you might forget, and that's a hospital trip that you don't want to take. It happens at some workshops, thankfully none of the ones that I did a long time ago, but it's happened to some people that I know. Their students put mineral spirits in a water bottle and forgot. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I don't like teaching in person. Things like that, you don't want that to happen. So now that we've almost got the face blocked in, I know it's kind of slow. It's been about 30 minutes just to get to this point. Now we can start to add some little subtlety, like the little curve on the nose there. Appreciate all of you that are here on such short notice. You may notice the lights start to change a little bit as the stream goes on. I'm using both window and electric light, so the light will look a little different. So to any apartment dwellers that may be watching this, get some pastels, because man, not having to clean brushes is kind of nice. It's kind of a nice thing. But what I've been doing with my oil paints, actually my brushes, I'm leaving them in linseed oil, not cleaning them. There's no way I'm going to use this sink in a high-rise apartment. I'm on the 14th floor. There's no way I'm going to use that sink to clean any paint brushes. So I'm going to keep the brushes in, for example, with watercolor, well, you don't have to worry about it anyway because watercolor. But with acrylic, I've always kind of kept the brushes in a water cup anyway. But be mindful of that, any apartment dwellers. Hey, NJ, welcome, welcome. How to soften transitions. Most important thing is to think about what we mean by soften. And soften can mean many different things, but typically the word that comes to mind is blending. And they used to say, I don't think they can get away with it anymore, but in the past they used to say quite negative things about the word blending, which I'm not going to air. But think about here. This is going to get softer, and this is a natural soft curve here on the form. Here, this is going to get even softer, almost lost in later on, because the hair itself is much softer than this. So think about the surface quality of whatever gets softer, but also form. Once we get into form for the eyes and nose, we already have some of it there, but once we get into like this, making that a little bit more appealing, that is form. So you got form in itself, and then you have the surface of what you're working on. And there's so many ways to do it. You can just go and blend it out with your hand, or you can go and add more planes to it, but try to think more about what's actually going on as opposed to just softening it. Great question. Great question. Cal, you're new to art. Welcome to the wonderful, mysterious world of art. And I'll tell you what, the oil painting scene, the art scene is way, 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 way nicer than the billiard scene. I had a horrific loss. My team lost a pretty huge match in order to qualify for Vegas. I can't stand it. Like, I'll still play pool, but man, competitive sports, it takes a certain personality to be able to pull back from and move forward after such a big loss, even such a big win. In painting, we're always winners. Just like Bob Ross would say, it's your world. You can do whatever you want with it. And this is a way to escape reality. Create your own reality. And let me tell you something. I was telling Randy this earlier. There's no golden technique per se. Like, I know you want there to be one, but trust me, it's a good thing. Painting is not an exact science. Yes, form, perspective, all that stuff is an exact science, yes. The nose has to be exactly in some position relative to the eyes. Yeah, I know. You know that, I know that. Your neighbor knows that. Everyone knows that. But the way you go about it is totally, completely up to you. You can start off with a red underpainting. You can start off with a gray underpainting. You could start off with no underpainting like we did here. It's not an exact science. And it really is your world. Whatever you want to do, you can do. Oh, no worries, NJ. No, this is not a Zorn, but it might as well be. It's kind of that same look that Sargent and Zorn paintings have. It might as well be. But let me tell you something. You are free in painting. There's so much freedom. There's so much you can do. And you don't have to worry about missing a ball that's worth $750 or losing a game that could prevent your team from getting an all-expense paid trip to Vegas. That kind of pressure doesn't exist in painting, and that's great. You would think that I'm under pressure here since I'm doing this live, but I'm not. This is totally relaxing. Hardly any pressure, no pressure. The only pressure that's on me is stuff that's beyond my control, like the internet, or if people are even interested in my content anymore. That's out of my control. Hey Cal, do you get feelings about character appealing as you do it? No, and you outgrow that too. When you start out with, especially portraiture, we tend to worry about things like likeness, character, personality, and one of my teachers, John DeMartin, would say that likeness is nothing more than the confirmation of an accurate drawing. And in drawing, another teacher of mine would say, you want to find form with freedom. So you want to be as free as you can. Think about the bird soaring through the sky. You want to be free. Hey Giselle, yeah, I'm back. Same setup, same days, same materials. Tuesdays through Friday. I'm back. I've been gone for a while for many different reasons, but the main one recently has been I had a really bad flu or whatever sickness. It wasn't COVID, unless I tested negative. I had a false negative twice in a row. And the internet, which by the way doesn't look that good. Let me know if you've experienced any delays. The internet will be the biggest issue to overcome. So there will be some interruptions and some delays here and there. I mean, we had interruptions even before I moved. So as long as it's still viewable. Cal, you mean interpret expression and appear? Well, yeah, it's a similar answer though to what I said before. Is like you just want it all to happen naturally. You don't want to force it. And the way you get to that point where you don't have to force it, the way you get to that kind of creative freedom is through very, very dedicated study into the fundamentals. The fastest track to get to that freedom is studying the old masters, and that's what we do. That's what we're doing here. But even as we study the old masters, we study with freedom. This is not the GRE. I don't have to worry about failing and not getting into the Masters of Fine Arts program in Yale or something like that. I'm not going to worry about that. Oh good, the connection's working. Thanks Cal for that comment about the expression. So basically, what I want to show you all, what I want to encourage all of you, something that I've learned from Pool recently, which I know is not painting, but there really shouldn't be any pressure on this. And by pressure, we all experience pressure. Life is pressure. But if you can do something in your life, if you can do something to an extent where you can just not even think about it, that's one of the greatest joys in life, is getting to a point in anything that you do where, number one, you love to do it, and number two, you can really excel at it without having to put constant pressure on yourself. Let's see. Oh, okay. Cal, you meant not copying. PSL, you can say been there, done that. Yeah, I guess you're right. You know, that's the thing about life, I guess. The more you experience things, the older you get, the more you realize how everything's connected. You know, like I've learned things from pool that transferred into painting, and vice versa. You can learn some things in cultural anthropology that you could apply into your in painting. You can learn things from differential equations that you can apply to painting. It's all connected. It's all connected. This, by the way, is the first time I'll actually use white on the skin tones. Only after I've had enough of the layers of color. But like I said, you can work in any different method that you want. I just chose to go about it this way. Yeah, free flowing without pressure, exactly. I guess the word is anxiety. Like, you know, do something, get to the point where you can do something to a certain level where you don't experience any real anxiety from it anymore. Streaming itself used to cause me a lot of anxiety when I first started doing it. Painting live would cause me a lot of anxiety when I first started doing it. Back in 2020. But with enough experience, I'm fine with it. It doesn't bother me anymore. Keep thinking about what her expression means. Oh, you know what, Cal? Almost 90% of the time, the expression that you're going to see in the model's face in an older painting is, when is the next model break? That's probably what she was thinking. Can I move now? My nose really itches. That's probably what she was thinking at this point in time. Because we know that Sargent painted her from life. And you know her nose was itchy or something. Oh, imposter syndrome. Yeah, that's a big one too. No, I still feel that myself sometimes, like with painting. Like, I feel like sometimes that I don't deserve it. Like, this kind of life, I don't deserve to be a content creator, full-time content creator. Sometimes I feel that way, but I've made so many videos, I've done so much in my career that there's no need to feel that way. But yeah, there is a imposter syndrome in there. Sometimes we talk ourselves out of things. But you can see with these oil pastels, now it's starting to resemble oil paint, with the exception of that I still haven't covered. It starts to resemble oil paint, at least a little bit. No worries, Cal. No worries. There's always some kind of expression in there. And that's one of the nice things about working from life, is that there's a multitude of different micro expressions that we capture in our model. No worries, Giselle will be here. We are about 10 minutes away from the first break. And I'll be putting some videos, some different videos during the break. Just little snippets from my Patreon. As much as I want to continue playing the Hugo videos for you, I will put some of the Patreon stuff. Which, by the way, everyone, his birthday is on Sunday. He's going to be turning 2. 2 years old, Hugo. And my boy Hugo. My Shiba Inu. So this will be the point where I'll ask everyone what you're interested in personally. Are you a oil painter, pastel painter, race car driver, sous chef, acrylic painter, violinist, pianist? What are you interested in? I kind of like leaving this open like that. Save myself some pastels. Well, thanks for that comment, Giselle. The model's definitely, she was definitely thinking, when is the model break? If anyone here has ever posed for a portrait before, you'll know that feeling. Or you're wondering if your head's in the right place. Or you're anxious because you know your head's not in the right place. Oh, expression is forming. No worries, Giselle. No pressure. And I know I'm not pronouncing your name properly, even still. I know I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but no pressure. Life is pressure, but painting exists to be that one thing that you do where there's no pressure. That's what I think. And how I miss painting with people in person. Of course, I can just drive an hour away to go paint with my artist friends in Baltimore. But it is a really fun thing to be able to paint with people. Here's a little bit of interesting conversation. What we've got 7 minutes now. Here's some interesting conversation. What do you think about the new, and this is what worries me now, the new generation and something called ChatGPT? It's an AI thing, and it concerns me, like the lack of grammar. Not to be like a grammar nerd, I'm not that, great with grammar, as you know. Obviously, English is my first language. I hardly speak any Spanish, even though my family is from Peru, but I speak hardly any Spanish. But anyway, it is kind of concerning, even like people in their 30s and 40s, professionals in their field, use AI to correct their grammar. Kind of concerns me a little bit. Just a little bit. Concerns me a little bit. I think AI is great. It's going to be really revolutionary in terms of computer science. But the cost, I don't know. The cost of people all of a sudden not being able to articulate their own ideas in words is a little concerning. Just a little, though. Just a little concerning. Some of you may even be computer scientists, experts in that field. But on the other hand, you could probably make the argument that certain things in grammar may not be as necessary, like the use of a semicolon. And the semicolon is, at least from what I was taught, used to split different ideas in a way that a comma can't. Like teachers used to tell me, you could reverse a meaning of a sentence that in between a semicolon, it could mean like something different like what the pastel painting is soft, and so it is very oily. Or you could say the pastel is very oily, therefore it's soft. So how important really is the semicolon anymore? Maybe not as important. Like cursive itself, they took cursive out of school, and I learned cursive when I was in school. It really isn't that necessary, if you ask me. Cursive, so I mean, aesthetically it is nice. But who am I to say anything? I'm just making light conversation. You listen to audiobooks, but the ones by AI sometimes can't because they don't know the words or syntax. It drives you crazy. I'm sure there's going to be an AI painting video version of this or similar videos in the future. But will you be more interested in that is the question. If that's the case, then I better get really good at pool so I have another substantial form of income. That'd be pretty funny and sad. Don't replace me with AI, please. Please and thank you. Here's where the blending stick is going to be useful, or the medium. Yeah, to copy me. I'm sure an AI, will copy my videos or someone else's videos. Just like the AI can make its own Rembrandt painting, I'm sure at some point it'll be able to make videos like this. But hopefully at that point I'll be retired. Not that artists ever really retire. We kind of don't. We don't retire. We don't have 401ks. We paint to make a living. It's more of a life of, I guess, virtue to your craft. You sacrifice all the finer things in life for the best thing in life, I guess. Doing what you love for the rest of your life. Life has changed, you're right. Life has changed. We don't speak or write the same as people did 100 years ago. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Like my analogy with the semicolon, like, probably don't need it. Just like what I said about cursive, probably don't need it. There's probably a reason why we don't say things like thou pastel stick is whatever Old English would say. I don't know. Life has changed. Correct. Let's see, what did I miss? Blend, darkening? I must have missed something there. Oh, you mean my pool friends? Yeah, I haven't painted any of them recently because I painted most of the ones that were okay with being painted. So I'm kind of out of members that want to be painted. So yeah. I mean, I'll still play pool. Like, I'll probably go back tonight, see if any of my peoples are there. I'll still play, of course. I'll still remain a member. But it could never take, the place that painting has in my soul. But yeah, I painted all of the members that are okay with being painted. Uh, the majority of the ones that I have not painted don't want their faces on the internet, and that's okay. That's their choice. Oh, yeah, the light is changing. That's right. It's almost nighttime out there. So let's change the light sensitivity, and then we'll take a break. There we go. We changed the light sensitivity a little bit. We shall take a short break, and we will get back in just a couple minutes. True for ancestry. Yeah, that's probably one good reason for cursive. That makes sense. That does make sense. So we will be back in just a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere unless you really have to. And who knows, you may actually like the video that I'm going to play during the break. So I will be back shortly. Alrighty then, I have returned, and in the meantime, I found my old blending tool that I used to use, and just some random paintbrush. And I adjusted the light, as I told you before. We were using a window before, but now the sun has managed to set. So, what do you say we continue now? And usually around this time is when we get into the subtlety stage of a painting. So pretty much kind of still on track, even though I'm a little bit slow today. I guess I'm just rusty. But anyway, I usually put subtlety trivia, or at least that's something I started doing during the subtlety stage of the painting. But I'll probably hold off on it for a little bit, unless you really want me to do subtle trivia. You might be more interested in what this blending stuff is. And question, could you actually hear the audio on that video that I just played during the break? I don't know if the audio is working. Because I know in that video I was explaining something. That video is from so long ago. I don't remember. Hey Grace, welcome. Welcome Grace. There's no audio on it? Okay. That's what I figured. I may have recorded it and didn't talk. I think that's probably what I did. But I've got a bunch of other ones that I'll play throughout the weeks. They're just little samples from Patreon projects. So Grace and everybody that knows about Hugo, his second birthday is this Sunday. So everyone that's watching this that knows Hugo, the Shiba Inu, please wish him a happy birthday on Sunday. Of course we're going to throw him a birthday party. Oh, no worries, Grace. We will be back. The usual schedule. Tuesday through Friday. You got plenty of chances, plenty of time to tune in. Now that the internet's working, should be smooth sailing from here. This is no one's asked about it yet, but it's just a Princeton blade, Princeton catalyst blade. It's a rubber, so you can see there. I just use it as a blender, but occasionally I do have to clean it. Well, thanks, Giselle, for Hugo's birthday wish. This is another aspect of pastel, oil pastel, that's more difficult than soft pastel, is the blending stuff. It's also really difficult if you're using like the cheaper quality oil pastels. Thanks, Grace. I can't believe he's gonna be 2. My boy's all grown up. He still knows all of his tricks, mostly. It's crazy to think he knew most of his tricks already when he was 5. 5 months. Not years, but 5 months. We'll use some of the blue for the shadow. So let's see, the audio is running. Do you see your dinner over there? Okay. So we're using some cerulean blue into the shadow. Even with oil pastel, it's a nice kind of a weaker blue for tinting purposes. Tinting it somewhat blue. Yeah, we're just starting back today, Giselle. No, but next week is gonna be the Tuesday through Friday. Not this week. This week is only today. Yeah, last week I wanted to start, but I still had that sinus infection, as you could probably hear from the audio. But not today. Everything is all good now, I hope. You can see how the cerulean blue tinted this. But yeah, I will admit, out of all the materials, the watercolor was probably my biggest nemesis. But I've decided I want to continue running things the way that they were before the move. So I'll stick with watercolor on Tuesdays. But I will be using my arches paper, so hopefully it doesn't lift like the problem I had before with it lifting. But you see how this thing blends really nicely with those edges? And it was important to get a lot of pastel on it first before doing this. Yeah, still not my normal voice. No, I'm still congested. You're right, I am still slightly congested. But little by little. I can't be away that long. The internet will forget about Me. Can't have that. So we will return, even though I'm not 100%. But it's all good. I'm about, let's say, 95% or something like that. Yeah, see, this tool is really, really nice for the blending. I think I've already asked this, but where in the world is everyone watching this from? Out of curiosity. Where in the world are you? Jaw muscles? You mean the mandible? Let's see, what muscle controls most of the jaw? I want to say it's the zygomatic bone, the cheekbone, zygomatic major, minor, I think is what you use. Mainly to move your jaw. Of course, it still needs to get probably a little bit thicker down here. It's a good anatomy question. You see, we can use the little blender to move it. Cal from New Jersey, Grace in Scotland, Giselle from Maine, and of course I'm in Virginia. Where in the world are you? It is a minor miracle that the internet's working the way it is. Hey Jonas, welcome. Yeah, Cal, sometimes we just kind of feel it, the anatomy. Don't have to know exactly the ins and outs of the muscles, though it helps. Anatomy helps to place the parts. And of course, it helps with drawing, but other than that, it is about feel. Thanks for Hugo's birthday wish. He's gonna have a nice birthday cake on Sunday. Maybe I'll take some pictures to share with you all on Tuesday. Oh, yeah, Lucy really likes the new place. She just took him out for a walk. It is different. It's well, for starters, it's a studio apartment versus a one bedroom that we were in before. So it is smaller. So it's going to be a little, difficult for her. She gets back from work and can't play the TV, but it's got a lot of perks to it. Like, for example, all utilities included. So we're saving up for like a home at some point, even though the market's probably never going to be that great. But Hugo, we had to get him emotional support animal certified to keep him here. So it is a little difficult to walk him. He has to go in a stroller down the elevator, but he seems to be fine. Lucy really loves the place because of the location it's in. It's really close to pretty much everything around here. I like it. It's right next to my the billiard academy I go to. I basically just walk across the street to go there. It is smaller though. That is a challenge, but it's just something to get used to for now. Something to get used to. I did want to do the live stream earlier. You're correct. Yes, I had to think about that over the past couple days. I did want to do it earlier, but things just tend to work out better around this time. Numbers wise, this stream has done already a lot better than when I did it earlier. So basically it's more for accessibility that I'm doing the stream at this time still. But you're correct, I did mention that I was going to start them earlier, and the video that I did just last week didn't even break 1,000. So I think timing wise later is actually better for YouTube. Even if I had started this at 7, say, my time, it'd probably still be better than, say, 3 p.m. my time. And it was always the plan. It was always the plan to start it at this time. Lucy knew that too. She's very happy that the internet is working for us. As you may imagine, it is a big deal to lose one person's primary form of income. That's what would have happened if I wasn't able to do this stream. So yeah, I was intending on doing it earlier, but it seems that the numbers prefer it at this time. Sometimes life is a numbers game. Other times it's like a box of chocolate. Oh, thanks, Cal. I'll use a little bit of the blue on the skin tones. It gets cooler specifically around the edge of the mouth. Here's where this tool excels the most. Blending things like this. But subtleties like this are much more difficult if you don't have some certain colors like that cerulean blue with oil pastels. Whereas with the soft, you can get away with not using them. Hey, Julia. It does. It has amazing natural light. And to anyone that may be familiar with natural light, this is a north-facing window. So there's pretty much natural light almost all day long here. It's amazing. That's something Lucy really loves about this place is the light. In the one bedroom we used to be in before here, it was the first floor, and we didn't really have any natural light, which didn't bother me, but for her it was a big deal. I'm only speaking of her right now because she's walking Hugo. Well, I'm glad the time works for you, Grace. I'm glad it works out. Seem very busy. This is around the time where a lot of people are getting off of work too. In the East Coast of the US. Of course, right now it's about 2:30 in the West Coast. But a lot of my US viewers, I think, are from the East Coast. I think. I don't know, actually. Oh, thanks, Giselle. I mean, about the comment about Hugo and my voice. Yeah, I've got a bunch of pictures of him in the stroller already. He's in his little pet stroller, the Hugo mobile. Oh, yeah, I got a bunch of pictures of him in his stroller. Yeah, it was really time to leave that other place. It was time. But painting wise, as you see here, sometimes I've got to add kind of a sharp plane like that and then soften it with the blender. Who knows, could do some audio books. My goal was to use these videos, or for people to use these videos kind of like a podcast. To just play, to hang out, to just relax. It's my goal. Crazy thing is I'm not using my microphone. For some reason that microphone, when it's connected to the computer, it tends to cause problems. I don't know if it's the cause, but sometimes the microphone, just when the microphone is connected, I lose internet connection, or my streaming software freezes. I don't get it. But yeah, this is without the microphone. This is just pure MacBook Pro speakers. Not sponsored by MacBook. But yeah, this has a real oil paint kind of feel to it now. In the beginning, it's really important to paint very thick. Lay the oil pastel down really thick in the beginning so that you can have enough oil pastel on the surface to blend it around like this. Now, question for everybody: as the December holidays are approaching. Notice how I got away from that one. How the December holidays are approaching. What are your favorite holiday movies? I'll tell you mine right away is Bad Santa. I grew up watching Bad Santa. I'm a child of the 90s. So I grew up watching Bad Santa. What are your favorite December time holiday movies? This is about the same setup as what I had before. Yeah, it's about the same. I'm sitting. The painting is above my eye level. My eye level is actually here. That's my eye level. It's raised so that the camera itself is not. My head basically doesn't get in the way, as you can see there. It's basically the same. I tried to do a setup where I was standing. I tried so many different setups here. I came back to the original one. You know the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. kind of the same thing going on here. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I had so many other ideas that I went around with, played around with in my head, like just mainly doing oil painting and splitting it up between landscape, still life, doing bigger paintings, and pretty much every idea I came up with in my head is something I have already done, similar to something I've already done on YouTube. So this setup just happens to be the one that worked the best a couple months ago or 2 months ago or whatever. So I will stick with this one. The different materials is what I mean. This time of day, this pace seems to work best. So Grace, you have a tradition here. Polar Express, Muppets, Christmas Carol. Oh wow, nice. Totally different from from mine. Mine is pretty much The Grinch with Jim Carrey, Bad Santa 1 and 2, and Home Alone, of course, a child of the 90s. We watch Home Alone. But Bad Santa is my favorite. Did I mention being on the 14th floor? I have to my left a direct view of 95 traffic on I-95. And let me tell you something, I am so glad I don't have to drive that much anymore. I can ride my push scooter. I have a push scooter that I take, meaning not electric, non-electric scooter. I can take to the grocery store. It's great. This city living. Oh, thanks, Cal. Well, we're getting there. So this Sargent study is getting there somewhat. That cerulean blue is so useful with the skin tones because it doesn't have such a high tinting strength. It's so easy to move it. An oil pastel is less fragile than the soft pastel, So that's also a really nice thing about it. Meaning, if I were to get this and accidentally drop something on it, not a heavy thing, like obviously I'm not going to drop a shoe on it or something, but I've had some of these oil pastels land on their face during the moving process, and they were fine. Some of the soft pastels, not so much. They smudged immediately. But these, you can drop on their face sometimes, and they won't smudge that much. So Giselle, you like the Christmas Story, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer classics? So far, no one else has mentioned Bad Santa. There's probably a reason for that. Yeah, I think around here though, the Jim Carrey Grinch, the Grinch with the Jim Carrey, that's kind of the big one. I think there's something that was said about how difficult it was for Jim Carrey to get into that outfit. Like, it would take forever, and he almost didn't do it because it took forever to get into that outfit. Of course, that could just all be hearsay, but something I heard. So, internet check, everybody. How's the stream been for you? Any delays or something? Any interruptions? Let me know. If it has been working out well, let me know. But look at that. That's basically oil paint like edges and texture that you can get from these pastels. Pretty cool. No delays, no glitches. That's awesome. Oh, thanks, Grace. I'm glad it's working out. Thanks for joining. Thanks everyone that joined today. I know that I didn't post this stream link until 2 hours beforehand. So I know, I should have posted it earlier, but thank you for attending, everyone that's attending this live. For those of you curious about the streams, same schedule as before, same everything. Same me, same Upari, just a different location. And arguably, actually, probably better internet than I had before. But yes, Hugo's birthday is on Sunday. We'll definitely share some pictures of his birthday party. The birthday boy is turning 2. If you haven't seen Bad Santa, that's for the best. I don't recommend it as a holiday classic, mainly because of the dark humor in it, but it's probably for the best that you haven't seen it. But you love the Jim Carrey Grinch? No, you heard about there were like torture to get the costume on. Oh man, that's tough. Difficult way to pay the bills if you're Jim Carrey. We are about 10 minutes before the break. Yeah, this pastel gets everywhere. We're throwing in a hint of red for the dark background for the hair. Pretty much looks just like oil paint. Feels just like oil paint almost. Some pastel artists leave the zigzags kind of as a aesthetic. I kind of don't like the zigzag look, so that's why I use the blender pretty much right away. Remember the hair, think about the hair the same as anything else. Planes, light and shadow, composition, perspective, all the good stuff. Again, these are Sennelier, Sennela, or whatever, however you pronounce it. Oil pastels, not sponsored by them. But they are the best that I've tried. As you see, they mix pretty well, blend pretty well. Consistency of the texture is almost identical to oil paint. So this is an ideal material to use, especially if you're an apartment dweller like me. Or perhaps you don't want to deal with cleaning brushes, or you have kids running around that might end up getting into the paint. This is ideal. I like the edge of this blade for the small little soft edges like this. You know, the beginning was slow, but at this stage we've actually moved pretty fast in the subtleties. We didn't put the ring or the earring on yet. We'll save that after this break. Always watch out for the dark rectangle. I turned this into a triangle. And when we return, we'll have a small, not a major, but we'll have a little tiny trivia, subtlety trivia. It's been really quiet, so trivia would be good. So if you've been here before, you'll know exactly what I mean. It's 11 p.m. over there, Mark. No worries, no worries. Thanks for tuning in. You know the schedule. We'll be back next week. So you said it looks smaller to you for some reason. That could be just a camera angle. just be the camera angle. Okay, so it's that time again. We're gonna take a break, then we're gonna return and finish this painting. It's crazy how that much time has already passed. No, I think in the West Coast it's earlier. I think. Who knows? Who knows for sure? Right, we're gonna take a break. I'm gonna play that video once again, and like I said, I'll be sharing some little pieces here and there of the Patreon projects. Of course, not the whole thing, but some bits and pieces of it there. If you're interested to know more about it, my Patreon is not linked in the description box. I think I forgot, but you can just type my name in Patreon. It'll show up for you. So I'm going to take a break, and I will be right back in a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere unless you absolutely have to. I'll be right back. Alrighty, welcome back to the final little mini session on this painting. Let me know, as always, if you can hear the audio, if the audio is working and all that stuff. Let me know. Really not that much left. Hey, what are you doing? I didn't mean you. Really not that much left to do in this. As I said, it's a Sargent study. It's not supposed to be a Sargent copy. Hence, I didn't put copy in the title. But anyway, we are gonna get to the ear. Oh, right. Subtlety trivia starts, I guess, now. First question for, the way this works is whoever gets the most points at the end of the stream will be declared the winner of Subtlety trivia. So listen carefully for the questions now for subtle trivia, which means now that we're in the subtleties of this painting, I won't be talking very much, so as an excuse to have something to talk about, I'm going to be introducing trivia. So subtle trivia, starting out with whoever was here earlier and paying attention to my favorite Christmas movie. What is my favorite Christmas movie for 1 point? What was my favorite Christmas movie? And a movie I don't recommend you watch unless you have a dark humor like I do. I have really dark humor. There you go. Giselle gets that point. Bad Santa. Don't recommend that movie to anyone who hasn't seen it. First point goes to Giselle. Second point. Second question, that is, for 1 point, and only 1 point. Whoever answers this correctly. What is the name of the model that I am painting? The name of the model in this Sargent reference. I mentioned it in the beginning of the stream. For 1 point. So the question was, for 1 point, what is the name of the model in the original John Singer Sargent master's study? Tricky question because I mentioned it in the beginning of the stream, but it's not actually linked. So it's a very tricky question. And if no one answers it in the next couple minutes, I will double the points to 2 points and move on to another question and leave this as an open 2 points. Yep, it is a difficult one, Giselle, because I did mention it earlier, but only maybe once or twice. So if you're scrolling through the video, it's probably going to be very difficult to find. As 2 hours is quite a long time of a live stream to scroll through. Alrighty, it's been about a minute, so now I'll double the points for that one. So whoever can say the name of the model in this John Singer Sargent study, whoever mentions it first in the comments section will get 2 points to the first person to mention it. Now, for 1 point, here's a simpler question. For 1 point for the first person to answer correctly. What is the name brand of the oil pastels that I'm currently using? And that's actually typed for you in the description. Oh, good one, Giselle. That was a good guess. But no, it's not Madame X. That is a really nice educated wish, but it is not Madame X. Close though. Well, close in the sense that it's a Sargent's name. What is the name brand of the oil pastels that I'm using for 1 point? Whoever answers it correctly will get that point. Here's an interesting reward. Whoever wins the points for subtlety trivia has the ability to become a moderator. If you win any subtlety trivia on any of these streams, I can add you as a moderator, meaning if you want to ban somebody for some reason, a valid one, of course, you're able to do that. You will have some control over the stream. That's an interesting award for winning subtlety trivia. We'll do this almost every time in the subtleties when I have really nothing to say about what I'm doing. And so that I'm not just talking about the weather and I actually have something to talk about, we'll introduce the subtlety trivia. How has no one guessed, for 1 point, what is the name brand of these pastels? Well, I guess the point should go to whichever cricket chirped first. Oh man, we're still okay. So I will give an honorary point to Giselle for doing a lot of research on this. Okay, so I will give a point to Giselle for the research. It's actually not that easy of a portrait to find of Sargent, but this is actually the portrait of his sister Emily. So this is Emily Sargent, John Singer Sargent's sister. However, we will give a point to Giselle for doing all that research. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong about that one. Again, it's not on Google Arts and Culture. It's actually on Open, whatever it's called, open source or whatever. It's a copyright-free image, of course, because of how old it is. No worries, Giselle. I had to do it. I had to do it. It cost everybody. They were less interested. I must have asked too difficult of a question for everybody. I think she was a painter also, but I don't know for sure. I think she was a painter, but I don't know for sure. So the next one, again, point whoever can name the brand of these pastels. Again, I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I'm a free agent. I say what I want. I do what I want with paint. So I tell you the truth as it is. This is probably one of the best, if not the best, oil pastels that I know of to use for this kind of stuff. All right, point goes to Pedro Gomez. They are Sennelier. Or Sennela, I don't know how you pronounce it. Senna something. But that's what these are. Point goes to Pedro Gomez. Okie dokie. Next point in Subtlety Trivia. The first person to answer the name of the oil painter that painted El Jaleo. Which oil painter painted El Jaleo? El Jaleo. One point. Which artist painted El Jaleo? Spelled with a J. Jaleo. Let's see. Emily Sargent was an artist known for her watercolors, and sister of John Singer Sargent did not exhibit her own work during her lifetime, but 440 of her works were discovered. Known for watercolors. I'm gonna have to look up some of her watercolors. As we know, watercolor is my nemesis. It's a very difficult material to use. Apparently, back then, Arches paper was still a thing. So she might have used Arches paper. Which I almost bought, but chickened out yesterday. But I will purchase it before we do the Tuesday stream. Yep, that one goes to Giselle. It was Sargent that painted El Jaleo. No coincidence there that we are doing a Sargent study, and I bring up a Sargent painting. Next up, for 1 point. 1 point for the first person to guess this one correctly. What was Rembrandt's last name? Rembrandt, the portrait painter from the Baroque period, best known for his selfies. What was the name of his last name. What was Rembrandt's last name for 1 point? This is a quick one. Either you know it or you can Google search it really fast. But someone's getting that point. You participating in this? Okay, Lucy gets a point. Van Ryn. Galileo by Sargent is an icon of the icon of the Gardner Museum. I never got to see it in person. I think it's in Massachusetts. It took more than 30 years to get it. Wow. Close one, Giselle, but Lucy got that one. Van Ryn. Lucy is now on the scoreboard for Van Ryn. Now, following that one, what body of water was Rembrandt named after? Van Ryn comes from some body of water. What body of water did Van Ryn come from? The name Van Ryn. For another point. And now we'll add the jewelry. The body of water is not a rhino. So that, you were close, but not quite there, Lucy. Not named after a rhino. What body of water does Van Ryn come from? I think I need reading glasses. I think that says R-H-I-N-E. That's not an O. I think I might need reading glasses. So this is the time where we can learn a little art history. Alright, so we'll leave that as an open question. And we'll move on to another question that we've asked before during these live streams. How many children did Johannes Vermeer have unofficially? Because the official number is not the same as the unofficial number. Don't ask me why, I don't know. But how many kids did Vermeer have unofficially? And we're almost there, everyone. I don't really think this one is going to need the entire 3 hours. So probably in the next 15 minutes we'll be almost there. Okay, 15. Okay, there we go. 15 to Giselle. I think 14 was the number, but then there was that one. Yeah. So I think yeah, it's between 14 and 15, but yeah, we'll take 15. Okie dokie, another point goes to Giselle. And I will close the Rembrandt last name, which body of water. Now, when I asked body of water, I meant specifically the body of water. The answer was the River Van Ryn. But don't worry if you didn't get that one. This time, you'll have a chance again in the future, as I will repeat questions. The River Van Ryn is the body of water that Rembrandt was named after. The River Van Ryn. And this is what a cheap paintbrush looks like. The glue came off the ferrule. But anyway. Next question for 1 point. Remember, everyone, keep track of your points. I guess it might be a little bit easy to keep track of when it's this short of a competition. So the next for 1 point, first person to answer. What year did I upload my first YouTube painting, my first art-related YouTube video? What year did I upload my first art-related YouTube video? And Lucy says 2017. I think she'd probably know better than me. So 2017 is correct. Anyone that answers 2020, you will hurt my feelings. So 2017 is correct. Lucy gets another point. Next question for 1 point in this subtlety trivia. Another repeat question. What is the name of the artist that got in a duel and ended up killing someone with a dagger and a sword? What is the name of the artist, famous oil painter, that got in a duel with someone and killed them with a dagger and a sword? This is a repeat question from a couple months ago. Painting is almost finished, by the way. Don't forget, Hugo's birthday is Sunday. It would be awesome if at least one person in the comments, in the future of course, after the video is done, would say happy birthday to Hugo, the all-amazing Shiba Inu. He will be turning 2 years old. So there we go. Between Lucy and Giselle, Caravaggio is the name of the artist that the famous oil painter that killed someone with a sword and a dagger over a duel. So next up for 1 point, and for 1 point to two people can take this point. The first two people to to respond logically, what is the point of an underpainting? And remember, anyone that may have been here before, you also get a point for making me laugh. First two people to answer logically or make me laugh, what is the point of an underpainting? For 1 point each. This is your chance now. Anyone that hasn't had a chance to Google something, just write something somewhat logical or just make me laugh, whichever comes first. What is the point of an underpainting? First two people to answer logically will get the point, or make me laugh, whichever comes first. And then after that, I think that will close Subtlety Trivia for the night, as we are pretty much almost done with this study. Luckily the internet worked out. Shout out to Xfinity. That's actually working. Okay, first point of this shared point goes to Giselle. Good foundation, values, etc. for accurate drawing and good likeness. Very good. Now Lucy says, when you put a painting under the Christmas tree as a gift for your wife, an underpainting. Alright, Lucy gets that point for making me laugh, a little bit. So the 2 points, the 1 point goes to Giselle, the other point goes to Lucy. Now here's the real joke about what's the point of an underpainting. And the real point of an underpainting in the context of a joke is it's unnecessary, as I didn't use one today. Oh, that's a knee slapper there. No underpainting was used for this. The real point of an underpainting is nothing more than to create a layer so that you can put another layer on it, on your painting. Really, that's pretty much it. That's the only point of an underpainting. A layer so you can put another layer over it. You could have an underpainting where you paint a pink zebra and you paint over the pink zebra, and that's technically an underpainting. And that goes back to the beginning of this entire stream where I was talking about freedom. In life itself is pressure. Everything is pressure. So what you want is to find something in life, do something where you can just do it without thinking, enjoy the entire process, and not have to have any pressure. And that is the main message from today. No pressure, just fun. Like Bob Ross would say, in real life, all I have control over is taking out the garbage. But here on the canvas, I can control the entire world. As some artists say, you can basically move mountains on a canvas, whereas in real life, we have almost no control over anything. That's the freedom of art. That's the freedom of being able to paint this way. Hopefully you enjoy the stream. And let's get the points calculated between Lucy and Giselle. I think it's probably Giselle that got the most points there. But of course I can't math, even though I have a math degree. But don't worry, we will remain doing these subtleties, subtle trivia in the future. Also, anyone that has won subtle trivia in the past, Giselle, you have won subtle trivia in the past. If you want to become a moderator, I can easily add you as a moderator as part of the reward of winning subtle trivia. That means Grace will also be able to become a moderator. But that's about it. That's all we got. And Hakuna Matata, of course. It means no worries for the rest of your days. And that's what we're doing here. No worries. But yeah, that's all I got for you with this one. I'm going to go ahead and sign it. Even though it is a study after Sargent, I will sign it. We'll just put a 2 and a 4. Barely legible, of course, so it doesn't take away from the composition. Oh, Lucy. Alrighty, that's all I got for you. Let me know if you have any last minute questions, and of course I'll bring Hugo so you can say happy birthday to him, as you will not see him until after his birthday. Any last minute questions? Anyone that's wondering, the schedule will be the same as it was before. We will be live Tuesday through Sunday, starting at 4:00 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And we will alternate materials, meaning different material, different day. Tuesday is watercolor, Wednesday oil paint, Thursday acrylic, Friday pastels. And hopefully everyone has a wonderful Friday the 13th. This is Hugo saying thank you so much for watching, supporting the YouTube channel, and of course, in a way, supporting Hugo, the 2-year-old, almost 2-year-old Shiba Inu. He will turn 2 years old on Sunday. Alrighty, thanks everyone for tuning in. I wish you all the very best. Stay safe on this Friday the 13th. And I will see you on the next live stream.